Hey everyone, on this lecture we are going to study the operation of reverse complement, a sequence record. Remember that we already know this operation of reverse complement because we already reverse complemented sequences. When we reverse complement a DNA sequence, for instance, what we do is we reverse the sequence and then we replace each nucleotide with its complementary nucleotide. This is what reverse complementing a DNA sequence is. Now, what happens with sequence records? Well, with sequence records, we have the sequence and also additional information. We have additional information. So when we reverse complement a sequence record, it is very important to bear in mind that any features that we have are going to be transferred with the location recalculated when we apply this operation of reverse complementing. Nevertheless, the ID of the sequence record, the name, its description, annotations, and also database cross-references are not going to be transferred by default. Let us continue here with our notebook. Let us just change now the name of the notebook to be reverse complement sequence records. And then here we can add the operation of reverse complement. And the previous ones we can minimize, right? So we can minimize this one. We can also minimize here this slicing, like this. So to reverse complement the sequence record, now we are going to work with an example. We are going to use this GenBank file as an example. This is a file that we already studied before. You can download this file on the downloadable documents of this lecture. Once we have downloaded it, then here we go to this files window in here. And then we click here upload and we upload this file to this notebook session. So we wait, we upload it very well. And now here, let us define the record so we can read it with the function read from the sequence input and output module. So here we are going to read this file in here and see 005816.gb because it is a GenBank file. And the second argument, remember, is the type of this file, which is a GenBank type. Okay, so we load it and now let us print here, for instance, the ID of these records with access the attribute ID. We can also print here the length of this record. We can also print here the length of this record feature, so we access the attribute features. And finally, we can also print the original, for instance, length of the database cross-references and the length of the annotations. So here we access the length of the database cross-references and finally the length of the annotations. Very well, so let us now print all of this information. We print, and here we can see this is the ID of this record, this is the length of the record, this is the length of the features, the length of the database cross-references, and the length of the annotations. Now let us apply the reverse complement operation. We can name this to be RC, and here we use the method reverse complement. So we access the record and here we apply the function reverse complement. And what we're going to do is we're going to provide a new ID to this reverse complemented record. We can name this ID to be reverse complemented. And so here notice how, although here we are only specifying a new identifier, most of the annotations is going to be dropped. And what is important is that the features are not going to be dropped. The features are going to be remained. Right, so we define this RC and then we print all of this same information, but now with the new reverse complemented record. So here I type RC, here also RC, I type here RC. This is the database cross-references of the reverse complemented and here the annotations of the reverse complemented. So let us run this cell. So as we can see, we have the new ID, the one that we have provided. The length of the record is the same, since on the reverse complement operation we do not modify the length, right? And also the length of the features is the same. As we can see here, we have 41 features also in the reverse complemented record. But now what happens with the database cross-references? Well, as we can see, these are not transferred. Before we had 1, now we have 0. What happens with the annotations? Well, once again, these are not transferred. Before we had 13, and now we have 0. So as we mentioned, the features are transferred, but all of the remaining things and the attributes of a sequence record object, the ID, the name, the description, these are not transferred. And it is very important to take this into account when we are reverse complementing sequence records. As always, we remind the student that you can download all of this notebook on the downloadable documents of this lecture.